Often what happens is, whatever the family business is, either you dive into it or you run very far away from it. So I did both. I ran far away from it first into radio. And then
killed it in the game.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But then at some point, you know, when I started earning money and wanting to save and do smart things with it, my roots came up, you know, and I recognized that everything they ever told me was right, that real estate is the foundation of wealth, and I became an investor while I was a radio personality, flipping homes in Newark, New Jersey, and making more on one flip than I was making my entire year working as a radio personality, which made me start to question my existence a bit. But, and then, you know, something happened. I woke up one day, went to work, and I got fired as a radio personality because that happens. Our industry there was shrinking, formats were flipping, and you can be number one, which I was, number one in New York, and I came in and they're like, we got to downsize. So I found myself on the unemployment line, and this really happened, this story really happened. I'm on the unemployment line crying, because how am I going to pay all my bills in New York City, and the rug just got ripped from under me, and I'm figuring out my next strategy. At least I know I can go flip this house and do this. And by the time I get to the front of the line, a cab rolls by with one of those triangular billboards on the top of me. And I said, please don't stop here, please don't stop here. And it stops right next to me, and I said,
that's you, that's her.
Yeah, don't recognize me because I'm in the unemployment line. But by the time I got up to the person, I made a few decisions about my life. Number one, I was going to real estate school and that I was going to take my plan B serious. Number two, I would never put myself in a position where someone else could affect my livelihood, and that I could be the co-creator of my destiny. And so instead of working for someone, I shifted my mindset to wanting to work for myself and take it as far as I possibly could. And that's how I really fell in love with real estate, because it empowered me.
I love hearing that story, and I love watching your program and seeing how you incorporate your daughters into this, you know, just the family thing. I love how you cook and talk with your husband, so it just makes me feel like I'm sitting in the kitchen with you. But you talked about how you fell in love with the business, but there are some do's and don'ts. We have two types of people that are joining us, right? Okay. So we have people here in the back, upstairs, and here that either they own a home or they're going to be first-time homeowners. So I have two questions.
Sure.
What are the do's and don'ts that you would give for first-time home buyers?
Do's and don'ts for first-time home buyers, meaning you're in the market to purchase a home, you haven't yet purchased your home. Probably one of the biggest mistakes that people do is put the cart before the horse. So they fall into that deep, dark rabbit hole of searching online and falling in love with houses and looking at pictures and having the dreams, and then, you know, even sometimes making offers online now that everything is digital and they can do that, and then realize, wait a minute, I can't afford this house. I didn't even sit down and talk to a mortgage professional to determine what my buying power is. So what I stress to people is your very, very first step on the home buying journey is to get your ducks in a row, right? And sit down with a professional first before you start falling in love with properties and recognize, wait a minute, my budget's actually $200,000 less.
So now for those who own a home and we want to make improvements to increase the value, because you do incredible renovation. I mean, you're a decorator and you have a team. But what about that? What are some simple things that people can do to add value to their existing property?
Well, probably the simplest thing that anyone can do is bring up the curb appeal. You know, keep that landscaping up. It's recommended, unless you have a brick or a stone house, that you're painting every 7 to 10 years. Get rid of the dry rot. It's the maintenance. It's the little things that if they go ignored for a long period of time, add up to a big ticket item, and you start to feel that it's overwhelmed. So number one is just keep that maintenance up, and that helps keep the curb appeal up, which represents 22% of a resale value on a home, because people decide when they pull up to the curb whether or not they're going to buy it or even go in based upon what they see from the curb. But then once you're inside the house, figure out, like, the smart tickets for me is, can I add another bedroom? a legal bedroom anyway. Because if you can, you bring that comparability up. You know, depending upon the price point of the home, it could be $30,000, $40,000 just by turning it into a bedroom, adding a wall and adding a closet sometimes. Can I add another bathroom? Does it make sense to finish a lower level, a basement? But really, if none of that applies, you can never lose with kitchens. You know, if you're going to put money and you're going to renovate anything, the kitchen's the heart of the home. How many of y'all spend most of your time when you're at home in your kitchen, right? Even when I try to kick people out of the kitchen, like, get out, go sit in the living room, go in the den, we always wind up right back in the kitchen. So I do believe that's why, you know, you see a lot of return, dollar for dollar, on the money you put in there.
So now, I know that you're in Atlanta, and I heard a couple of you would like to see her hit some homes here in Prince George's County, right? So we might have to talk to the producers of Married to
Take it on the road?
To take it on the road, because we would like her to hear first, right? We would like her in Prince George's County.
You heard that, Kim?
Where's Kim? We need to let Kim know.
Okay.
So, you know, I look at you, and you guys can tell me if you agree. When I watch the show, I see you guys knocking down walls and making things happen, but I don't know what walls in my house I can knock down.
Okay.
To make it work.
Well, you know, so I look at it like therapy. I look for houses I can knock stuff out because I save a lot of money on the therapist.
I love it.
No, I'm joking. But I mean, really, you don't have to always knock a wall out to make a flow, a function of a house make sense. But I think I'm going to start like virtual designing, because I'm getting more and more requests from people like, can you help me? Can you help me? And now we're on in 4 different countries. So I even get folks reaching out to us from Brazil, from Denmark, and I'm thinking maybe I should start a virtual design business. Is that a good idea? Where I can kind of look and see what the floor plan is? That's another business word.
I love that, and you pivot. Now, your husband, Mike, right? He's not here with you today.
Michael Jackson. I married Michael Jackson. I did. I married Michael Jackson.
And I love your love story, too. I love how you guys connected in May, and I love how he looks at you when he's talking to you about business.
I think
and your uncle is in the business, too, right?
Okay, so here's what's crazy. Uncle Mark on our show, who, by the way, has a fan club. Like, if another 65 or older woman asks me to hook them up with Uncle Mark.
I love him.
He's awesome. So Uncle Mark was one of the uncles that I mentioned. I grew up hearing about real estate, and I'm like, plugging my ears. I don't want to hear it anymore. We're at Thanksgiving, and instead of passing the turkey, they're talking about passing the house on Brown Street. So it's interesting how God works, because he was in Philadelphia, where I grew up. Any Temple University owls in New York? Never. If I say New York is always someplace in the building. Someplace in the building. I say Philadelphia, never in the building. But I grew up with him teaching me about real estate. All of these years later, he works for my brokerage as a real estate professional, and he's partners with my husband in the construction business as a project manager as well. And so we're a family business. We're a real bona fide family business. But you were going to ask me about him? You weren't asking me for his number, were you?
Oh my God.
Okay.
I love you guys together. I love you guys.
Okay,
When I look at you guys, I just love what you show. I think you go beyond just talking about real estate, because people are seeing you as an African-American couple doing things together. And again, every time he speaks to you, he's like, right? Yes, you can applaud that, absolutely. So reality TV can be positive. So people look at you and say, look at those two and the love story that you have and your adorable daughter. If I could just take her home, I would.
Harper, is that a voluntary babysit session?
I just love it. And I actually have my best friend who's in the audience, and she does every so often, she does the house, upstairs, the living room. So she's like, you'll change Harper's room, and I'm like, do you get your inspiration from doing homes, personal and professionally?
It drives Mike crazy. It really does, because he'll finish a project, and by the time he's finished something, I've got another idea. I feel bad for him sometimes when I watch the episodes back. You know, because when you live it, it doesn't feel like that. But when you watch yourself on TV, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I do kind of keep him busy. But I'm grateful. Truly, we're humbled when we think about how this journey started, which I don't know if you guys, so I was on HGTV. I used to host a show called Property Virgins. And then, you remember that show? Man, listen, I love that show. I miss that show. And then it spun off into Flipping Virgins, which the church folk didn't appreciate, but everybody's babies were okay. We weren't flipping anybody's virgins, but I was teaching people how to flip homes, first-time flippers, and so that was wonderful. Mike was always there, working in the background, and I remember all those years ago saying, we should turn the cameras around, like this is the real show, but no one heard us. So during COVID, when all of us were on lockdown, right, a much-needed pause for some, and for others who had kids, we appreciated teachers like never before, didn't we? So here we are in our kitchen, running our business from either end of the island, and the kids are in the middle, and we got kitchen table school going, and Mike's like, and he just starts filming. He's like, every day I'm just gonna film the craziness. And we started watching it back, and then we created something on social media called Ask Anything, where people would just ask us whatever, and we would laugh and have a ball. Well, we decided to turn it into a sizzle reel, put our work with the funny together, and we pitched it to HGTV, and they said, this is the best thing that any production company has pitched to us in 5 years. Yes, you got a show. That's how it came about.
It's so natural. Again, I have to keep reiterating, to see a black family, we do these things too. We sit at the table, we make pasta,
we pray,
we make cookies.
We love each other hard,
yes.
We build businesses,
yes.
we try to leave legacy and not debt for our children. We laugh at each other, we laugh, with each other, and, we all as a people, not just black people, as a people, we are more alike than we are different. I think there's so much focus on the difference in racial, ethnic background and stuff, that it creates separation. But truly, when everybody gets to see that here's a family, not just a black family, but here's a family that loves each other, works hard, plays hard, just like us. I think what it does is it builds a bridge that connects everybody across every background. And that's what we really aim to do without even really having to try. And so we're just grateful with 19 million viewers. Wow. Girl, I wear 2 girdles. Those things are so good. When they told me how many people watched season 1, season 2, I had 2 girdles on.
Listen, I understand where you're coming from. Before we go over the lines, I want you to reveal to the audience about your new product line. I am so excited.
Wow. So Indigo Road is my furniture line that will be dropping October of this year.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm nervous about it because
we got your back.
Thank you.
We got your back.
It is, as a real estate professional, I feel like I've been at the top of my game, and this is what I did. But when you start to open up, rebrand yourself a bit, start new businesses, it can feel a little, it's a little nerve-wracking. And so I'm so grateful that the world has accepted me also in the design space. And I'm just gonna keep going and pushing it and doing it. So this was on my vision board for years, that one day I would have my own furniture line. Just like it used to be on my ceiling. Remember the Michael Jackson poster with the yellow cardigan, the off the wall? I didn't know I was manifesting my future, but I put Michael Jackson on my ceiling. And at night when I was a teenager, I used to bounce on the bed and try to kiss the poster. And I married Michael Jackson. Not that one, but. So I do believe in the power of visualization, and that, we manifest what we want with the right energy. Right vibration. So I've been putting it all into it, and I know that you guys are gonna love it. Really, I'm very excited. So Indigo Road, October of this year, with my partnership with Japan International, and I have a wallpaper line, also Indigo Road, New York wall coverings. You can find it on wallpops.com.
Yeah. Wallpops.com.
They're a division of York wall coverings, and so if you go to wallpops.com, you'll be able to see my full Indigo Road line.
So how do you classify your furniture? Because I know there's such a, you do everything as far as in business? Is it contemporary or is it a mixture of traditional?
Sure, and so Indigo Road is a reflection of places that I've traveled. Wherever I go, I find inspiration and beauty. So we pull pieces from Bali, Indonesia. We pull pieces from India, from Morocco, which, by the way, is where I found out I was pregnant with Harper. Yeah, I was hiking in the mountains. I found out I was pregnant. So yeah, some pieces in the line are inspired from the Berber villages there. And I really just, again, wanted it to be a reflection, all-inclusive of everybody, but also the name Indigo Road represents that there is a design road and a spiritual road for all of us to travel. So on my Indigo Road, this is one pit stop, and it really, my goal with it is to combine comfort and luxury. I believe that no matter what price point, we all want to feel like when we step into our homes that it's luxurious, you know, that this is our haven, our oasis. And so I curated pieces that I believe, even standalone or together, are just absolutely gorgeous, but they are attainable luxury at a price point that most, hopefully everyone can afford.
I love hearing that. So I'm going to open up the floor line. I'm going to open up the here. If you have a question, I just need you to go to the middle here, and I'll give you an opportunity to take maybe one or two questions that you may want about real estate, home ownership, design, that you may want to ask Ms. Egypt Sherrod. So, do you want me to walk and meet you? Oh, come on, don't be shy.
Or just come say hi.
Don't, yeah. And then tell us who you are, because I see Realtors.
Hi there. How are you?
Good, I'm Wanda Russell. And I have my hashtag, I'm Queen of the Hustle, and I have a crown. And
Wanda Russell, Queen of the Hustle.
And the reason why I say that is because I have multiple streams of income
Yes.
within real estate.
Okay.
And Egypt, I would love for you to look at this product I designed. I had an HGTV magazine during COVID, and one of the heartburns, at least 7 of you guys said that you have heartburn on laying out your design. But prior to that magazine, I had designed this. It's 6 vinyl sheets.
A floor plan assistant, home design in a bag.
Yes. So
Okay.
those 6 vinyl pieces converts into 22 pieces of furniture. And when an agent or someone that already has a home, they can actually lay it out.
Can I open it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we might be seeing Mrs. Make a Millionaire.
So you're saying, all right, in this bag, you have basically, I'm sorry. So in this bag, you have different pieces of furniture and the approximations of what they would standardly be, like a king size bed, a twin size bed, etc. So when you're trying to decide how to rearrange furniture or what's going to fit where, instead of ordering it and finding out it doesn't fit, okay, then you can lay this. Okay, so that's full bed. So fold this into, oh, you can fold it all the way out.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. And it converts into
This is very creative.
Thank
This is, so we should talk?
Yes.
Okay. This is Shark Tank
What's your
for
name?
real estate.
And what's your name?
I'm Wanda
Wanda
Russell.
Russell, Queen of the
Wanda
Hustle.
Russell. I just
Yes.
want you to know I will be.
I love that.
10%. Okay. You know what? I love the
We'll talk,
packaging.
we'll talk right
I
after.
love the
Okay.
packaging. Thank you.
That's phenomenal.
You see how we're connecting?
Yeah.
Guys, do we have any
That
other
was
questions for Ms. Egypt Sherrod? Any other questions? Don't be shy. Thank you for not being shy, because they were asking me all these questions to ask you. So don't be shy. She's an amazing woman. Say your name and then you can answer your question.
Hi, my name is Sherrod Davis. I'm the secretary at Maryland Realtors. And a lot of times sellers ask us, what are the trends going to be for the following year? So some of them are buying new homes, they're putting their kitchens and bathrooms together. So do you have any advice about what the trends will be for 2024 as they're trying to put this all together?
That's an
Kitchens and bathrooms.
excellent,
Thank you.
excellent question, and thank you very much. I get asked that often. Here's what I'll say. Stick with the classic mainstays that are important universally to the masses. Natural light, wherever you can add it, people are looking for more natural light, especially when folks are working from home now, and seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. Has anyone ever heard that? It's sad. seasonal affective disorder. And apparently more than 75% of people who work from home suffer from it because they're not getting enough vitamin D. And so what I would tell them is add more windows, add skylights or sun tunnels, because that is an inexpensive way to, number one, make the house feel larger, but also for resale, people are paying attention to that now, and it's one of the things that's showing up, natural light, tons of light. So that's something that, you don't really hear. Now, as far as actual trends for design, what I would say is the mainstays of having an island, and I literally have had people argue me down about this, that not everybody wants an island in their kitchen. Right now, do me a favor, raise your hand if you would buy a house without a kitchen island. Only one. So there's something to think about. Some of the trends for the last decade that have been very popular are now phasing out. The grays, you know what I mean? Everything's been gray, agreeable gray, you know what I mean? All of the gray, that is now a thing of, oh, now people, again, want light and bright, and so what we're seeing is different shades of white, and there's some very popular whites, so, I'll be happy to list for you guys that still warm up a room, but make it feel modern and clean. I'm seeing getting rid of moldings now. Are you seeing that as well? So, and that's the cheat sheet, right? If you go into a space that has a lot of the thick, big decorative moldings, I personally still like them, but it instantly starts to date a house. It makes it feel like it's from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. So just sometimes taking something away can modernize it. Get rid of all those heavy crown moldings or just a part of it. Maybe the top, maybe the bottom, something like that. The other thing is farmhouse decor is out. And I love my fellow, I love Joanna Gaines. She did that. She did it. But farmhouses is very much out now too. So even things that they can do very inexpensively, just kind of looking at the trend of folks loving iron doors and iron windows. Well, you don't have to go pay $20,000 for an iron door or change out all your iron windows. Instead, you can get an iron or urbane bronze paint color and just have the trim or the door painted. So these are some of the things to modernize and give a house a look for less.
So we're going to take one more question. Come on up. Go right there. Come right up. Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, Aisha. Welcome.
Y'all gonna keep making me put these glasses on. I'm in denial. I keep acting like I don't wear glasses, but y'all gonna make me put these glasses. Okay. Oh my God.
That's an amazing picture.
That was it.
I remember you.
Yes.
Right. I remember you.
So we're gonna take an updated photo.
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh wow.
That's a request. That's a good request. Okay, one more question.
Okay.
This is the question. AI. How do you feel as though that's going to change the real estate industry? I know that people are talking about designing clothes and putting outfits together and things like that.
Yeah.
Is that something you're considering?
I have very strong feelings about artificial intelligence, and I see all the phones out here, but I'm just gonna say it. To me, I'm a little old school, and I don't like the idea of artificial intelligence replacing people in any facet, period. Now, I say that, but then I also recognize that my businesses will get left behind because the rest of the world doesn't necessarily feel that way, and that I'm gonna have to incorporate it. But where are we going to be in 25 years? How are we going to think for ourselves? Are we going to do anything for ourselves? It's dangerous. Even some of the people who have created some of this artificial intelligence have given out warnings constantly that this could be the end of humanity as we know it. So with that said, you know where I stand on it. I am familiar with a lot of the apps. I'm familiar with a lot of the dangers of the apps and how they're also within 10 seconds, they're taking our voices, and you can get a phone call from AI or someone who is trying to con you, and so we have to be warning our children as well, and give them code words. If you don't say the code word in the first sentence, then I know it's not you, type of thing. What's the code word? Because this is the world we're entering, and there's a lot of dangers in it. But I think that there's also a lot of opportunity for folks to get rich, which is why it's not going anywhere. So we're going to have to embrace it.
Well, I want to take this moment for you again. If people want to follow you, if people want to support you,
Yeah, sure.
how and where do they need to go to connect with you?
Yes, so Egypt Sherrod on Instagram is my personal handle where I just, whatever, I have fun.
Weren't you live on Instagram coming here in the car?
Yes, I was. But if you want to follow my real estate, it's Egypt Sherrod Real Estate Group. And if you want to follow the furniture line as we continue to develop and all my designs, you can follow Egypt Sherrod Home. Or look up Indigo Road and it'll come right up. And I really appreciate you guys supporting the show, being here today. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to take a few minutes. I'm going to get a quick picture with the backdrop here. And then I think they're going to bring something up too. So I'm going to give this to you.